When my grandson told me I wasn't the right fit for his 21st birthday party, I smiled, nodded, and walked out of his apartment. My name is Richard. I'm 68 years old. By the time I reached my car, I'd made one decision. By 9 a.m. the next morning, his $2.3 million trust fund had vanished, and that was just the beginning of the lesson he needed to learn. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. So yeah, the party's at the Meridian next Saturday, Tyler said, sprawling across the leather sectional I'd bought him last Christmas. His fingers moved across his phone screen with the practiced ease of someone who'd never known a day without technology, without comfort, without my money making everything possible. I settled into the armchair opposite him. The expensive one Madison had insisted went perfectly with their aesthetic. Their apartment overlooked the downtown skyline, floor-to-ceiling windows framing a view that cost $3,200 a month. I paid that too. The Meridian, I repeated. That's the new event space on 5th Street. Quite a venue for a birthday party. Yeah, well, Tyler's eyes stayed glued to his screen. Madison found it. She's really good at this stuff. Planning. You know, making things look right. Madison, his girlfriend of 8 months. 20 years old, with 47,000 Instagram followers and a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She emerged from the bedroom now, perfectly styled even at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, wearing an outfit that probably cost more than my first car. Richard, I didn't know you were here. She kissed the air near my cheek, a gesture I'd learned meant affection, without actual contact. Tyler's been so stressed about the party. It's basically his coming out event, you know? Like officially entering the adult world. The adult world. I bit back a comment about how the adult world usually involved paying your own rent. It sounds like quite an occasion, I said instead. I'm looking forward to it. Something passed between them. A glance. Quick. Loaded with meaning I couldn't quite decipher. Tyler finally looked up from his phone. Actually, Grandpa about that. He shifted on the couch suddenly, unable to meet my eyes. The thing is, it's going to be a pretty specific crowd. Madison's invited some influencers, some business contacts I'm trying to connect with. It's more of a networking thing than a family party. I see. I folded my hands in my lap. And you're concerned I won't fit in with a networking crowd? It's not that you won't fit in exactly. Madison perched on the arm of the couch, all sympathy and false sincerity. It's just that Tyler's trying to establish a certain image. His personal brand, you know, and the vibe. We're going for his young, dynamic, forward-thinking. Forward-thinking. The words tasted bitter just hearing them. And I'm none of those things. I kept my voice level, curious rather than confrontational. You're like established, Tyler said quickly. You've already made it. This party is about me showing people that I'm on that same path, that I'm someone worth investing in, worth knowing. It's about potential. I looked around the apartment, at the 75-inch TV mounted on the wall, at the gaming setup in the corner, easily, for $1,000 worth of equipment, at the artwork Madison had selected, abstract pieces that cost more than substance, all of it paid for by a man who apparently lacked potential. So what are you suggesting? I asked, though I already knew. Tyler's relief was palpable. Maybe we could do something separate? Just us? Like lunch the next weekend, or something? We could go to that Italian place you like, have a real conversation without all the noise and chaos. The Italian place I like. Giovanni's, where I'd taken him for every birthday since he was 6 years old. Where his grandmother and I had celebrated our anniversary every year until cancer took her 5 years ago. Now it was a consolation prize. A pity meal for the man who wasn't good enough for the real celebration. That sounds nice, I said, standing up. My knees protested. 68 years of use showing themselves. The weekend after then. Tyler's face lit up with relief. Thanks, Grandpa. I knew you'd understand. You always understand. Madison walked me to the door, her hand light on my elbow. You're so sweet to be flexible about this. Tyler really appreciates it. We both do. I'm sure you do. I pause at the threshold. The party's costing quite a bit, I imagine. The Meridian isn't cheap. Oh, don't worry about that. She waved a hand dismissively. Tyler's handling it. He's got everything under control. Tyler's handling it. With what money, I wondered. The $2,500 monthly allowance I deposited into his account? The credit card I paid off every month without question? I nodded and stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind me with a soft, final click. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. 32 floors of chrome and mirrors, showing me my reflection from every angle. An old man in outdated clothes, with outdated values, too outdated to attend his own grandson's birthday party. My truck sat in visitor parking, looking out of place among the Teslas and BMWs. I climbed in and sat for a moment, hands on the steering wheel, not starting the engine. The numbers started running through my head. They always did when I got quiet. 18 years of numbers. Building and building until they became something monstrous. $2.3 million in his trust fund. Money I'd built from nothing, saved from my construction business, invested. Carefully over decades. For Tyler. For his future. For the grandson who'd just told me I wasn't good enough to celebrate that future with him. I started the engine and pulled out into traffic, driving on autopilot while my mind calculated, remembered, added up the cost of love. The roads back to Riverside were familiar enough that I didn't need to think about driving. Left on Madison, right on Jefferson, straight through the old industrial district that had been warehouses when I was Tyler's age. Now it was breweries and art galleries, the kind of places Madison probably posted about on Instagram. This is trendy. This is authentic. This is curated. Nothing was real anymore. Everything was performance. Susan's voice drifted through my memory, soft and warm like it always was. That boy is our legacy, Richard. Promise me you'll take care of him. I'd held her hand in that hospital room, watched the machines count down her remaining heartbeats, and I'd promised. Of course I promised. I'd kept that promise for 5 years now. Kept it with every tuition payment, every rent check, every time Tyler called with an emergency that required money to solve. But what had Tyler kept? My house appeared at the end of Oak Street, a modest 2-story with a porch light I kept on for no reason. No, one was coming home to me. No one had in 5 years. Inside, the silence pressed against my ears. I dropped my keys in a bowl by the door, the clink of metal, against ceramic loud in the empty entryway. My study was at the back of the house, windows overlooking the garden Susan had planted before she got sick. Her roses still bloomed every spring. I still tended them, though I didn't have her touch. The filing cabinet held 18 years of records. I pulled out the bottom drawer and began laying folders across my desk, organizing them by year, by category, by the mounting cost of my love. The first folder was thin. Baby expenses, the crib I'd bought, the college fund I'd started the day he was born. $10,000, deposited with a promise to add more every year. I had, every single year. By the time he was 5, the fund had $87,000. By the time he was 10, it had cleared $200,000. The day Susan died, it had $654,000. I remembered because I checked in the hospital, needing to focus on something that wasn't my wife slipping away, needing to believe something good would continue. Now, it had $2.3 million. 18 years of compound interest and careful management. But the trust fund was just the beginning. I pulled out the next folder. Private school tuition. Riverside Academy. Tyler had attended from kindergarten through 12th grade. $28,000 a year. For 13 years. My calculator gave me the number I already knew, $364,000. His parents couldn't afford it. My son Robert had tried, God knows he'd tried. But working as a regional manager for a pharmaceutical company only stretched so far, especially with Tyler's mother's medical bills. Leukemia. She fought it for 3 years before it won. Tyler was 14 when we buried her. Robert fell apart. Started drinking. Lost his job. I'd stepped in. Of course I'd stepped in. Next folder. College fund. Additional expenses. University of Washington. Out-of-state tuition because Tyler wanted the Seattle experience. $52,000 a year. 3 years so far, with one to go. $156,000. Not counting the spending money, the apartment, the books, the computer, the emergencies that always seem to cost exactly $3,000. Another folder. Vehicles. The Honda Civic for his 16th birthday. $23,000. The Audi A4 for his 20th birthday, because the Honda wasn't professional enough for his image. $42,000. $65,000 in cars he'd wrecked, dented, and traded up from. I kept going. Folder after folder. Spring break trips. $31,000 over 4 years. Medical insurance. $18,000. Monthly allowance. $2,500 since he turned 18. 3 years. $90,000. Apartment furniture. $22,000 for Madison's aesthetic. Credit card payments. I stopped calculating this one after reaching $35,000. The statements went back too far. By the time I finished, my desk looked like a crime scene. Evidence of systematic financial bleeding. Each folder a wound I'd inflicted on myself. Total damages, $893,000. Not counting the trust fund. With the trust fund, I'd given my grandson $3,193,000. $3,193,000. I sat back in my chair and stared at the number I'd written at the bottom of my legal pad. What does $3.2 million buy? Not loyalty, not respect, not even an invitation to a birthday party. I thought about Tyler's apartment, about Madison's casual dismissal, about my grandson's relief when I'd agreed to be excluded from his life. Susan's voice again. Take care of him. I'd taken care of him. I'd taken care of him so well that he'd forgotten what struggle felt like, what earning felt, like what gratitude felt like. I'd loved him so thoroughly that I destroyed him. The realization settled over me like winter cold. This wasn't about the party. The party was just the symptom. The disease was much deeper. I'd created a monster by being too generous. I'd raised a stranger by giving him everything. And now he thought it was all his. His money, his success, his personal brand. Mine was just the outdated old man who didn't fit the aesthetic. I looked at my phone. 4:47 p.m. Harold Chun, my attorney, would still be in his office. I picked up the phone and dialed before I could reconsider. Harold Chun Law. Harold, it's Richard Morrison. Richard. His voice warmed. Been too long. How are you holding up? Harold had drafted Susan's will. He'd help me up at her funeral. He knew exactly how I was holding up. I need to see you tomorrow morning, I said. First thing, it's about Tyler's trust fund. A pause. Is everything all right? Everything's fine. I just need to discuss my options. Your options? Harold's lawyer voice clicked into place. This sounds serious. It is. Can you fit me in? I'll make time. 8 a.m. Perfect. I hung up and looked at the folders spread across my desk. Evidence. Documentation. Proof of my own. Foolishness. Tomorrow, I'd find out exactly what I could do about it. Tonight, I'd sleep better than I had in years. The phone rang at 7:43 a.m. before I'd even finished my first cup of coffee. Madison's name flashed on the screen. Not Tyler. Madison. I considered letting it go to voicemail. But curiosity won. Good morning, Madison. Richard. Hi. Her voice had that artificial brightness people use when they want something. I hope I'm not calling too early. I looked at my coffee, at the sunrise just breaking over Susan's rose garden. Not at all. What can I do for you? So, I want to touch base about yesterday. The sound of traffic in the background. She was driving. Somewhere, multitasking, even during manipulation. I feel like maybe things ended a little awkwardly. Did they? Well, I know Tyler was worried you might have taken the party thing the wrong way. A horn honked on her. And I just want to make sure you understand where we're coming from. This isn't personal, you know? It's just business. Business. I sipped my coffee. Tyler's birthday party is business? Everything's business now, Richard. That's what Tyler's generation understands that yours maybe doesn't. She said it kindly, like she was explaining reality to a child. Social capital, network building, brand development. The party isn't about celebrating. It's about positioning. Positioning Tyler as what, exactly? As someone who's made it on his own. Someone who's built something from nothing. She rattled it off like she'd rehearsed it. The self-made young entrepreneur story is incredibly powerful right now. Investors love it. Sponsors love it. It's authentic. I set down my coffee cup very carefully. Self-made. Exactly. That's Tyler's whole brand. He's been documenting his journey on Instagram, building this narrative about bootstrapping his way to success. His engagement numbers are insane. Last month alone, he gained 8,000 followers. And where do I fit into this self-made narrative? She laughed. Actually laughed. That's the thing. You don't. I mean, no offense, but the whole doting grandfather thing kind of undermines the independence angle. People might get the wrong idea. The wrong idea being the truth. The truth is complicated, Richard. Her voice took on a patient, condescending edge. Yes, you've helped Tyler out over the years, but he's the one who's making the smart decisions now. He's the one building the portfolio, making the connections, establishing the brand. That's all him. My hand tightened around my coffee mug. The portfolio? His investment portfolio. Haven't you seen his posts? He's been killing it. Crypto, mostly, but he's diversifying into some tech startups. He's got this instinct for it, you know? A natural talent for seeing opportunities. Opportunities he's funding with what money? His trust fund, obviously. Madison said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. I mean, it's just sitting there, right? Might as well put it to work. That's what he tells his followers. Passive income isn't enough anymore. You have to be aggressive, take calculated risks. I stood up and walked to the window, watching the morning light paint Susan's roses gold. And his followers believe he earned this trust fund himself? Well, he doesn't get into the specifics of where the initial capital came from. I could hear her shrugging. That's boring anyway. People don't want to hear about inheritances or whatever. They want to see the growth, the strategy, the wins, or whatever. I repeated the words softly. Madison, does Tyler's Instagram mention me at all? Maybe? In like old posts from high school or something. But that's not really relevant to his current content strategy. He's rebranded since then. The past doesn't fit the narrative. The past. 18 years of the past, erased for a narrative. Tell me about the party, I said. Who's coming? Oh my God, such a good crowd. Her enthusiasm surged back. There's this venture capitalist from Seattle. Who's really interested in Tyler's crypto analysis? A couple of tech founders. This influencer couple with like 300,000 followers combined. Madison's tastemaker list. Some finance bros Tyler networked with at that conference last month. The conference I paid for. What? Oh, right. She dismissed it. Anyway, the point is it's a curated guest list. Everyone there is either an investor, a collaborator, or an amplifier. We're trying to create buzz before Tyler launches his personal brand. Consulting business. Is what? Personal brand consulting. It's genius, really. He helps other young entrepreneurs establish their online presence, grow their following, monetize their influence. He's already got 3 clients lined up, ready to pay. $5,000 a month each. $15,000 a month. To teach other people to do what Tyler was doing. Creating illusions of success to sell to more. People creating illusions. And these clients, I said slowly, they think Tyler built his success himself. I mean, he did. He's the one posting, engaging, creating content. That takes work, Richard. Real work. Just because he had some help along the way doesn't mean he didn't earn what he has. Some help. $3.2 million was some help. Madison, I have a question. Sure. Does Tyler know you're calling me right now? A pause. Traffic noise filled the silence. He might have mentioned that someone should smooth things over. Make sure you weren't upset. So he sent you to manage me. That's not. Look, Tyler just doesn't want any drama. The party's in 4 days. We've got photographers coming. A videographer. This is content that's going to live forever. We can't have any negative energy affecting the vibe. Negative energy. Like a grandfather who might mention where the money actually came from. Richard. Her voice hardened. I'm going to be really honest with you right now, okay? Tyler's building something here. Something real. And yes, you've contributed financially to his foundation. But that's what grandparents do, right? They support their grandkids. That doesn't mean you get to control his narrative or make demands about his life. I haven't made any demands. You're upset about the party. I'm not upset. I'm informed. What's that supposed to mean? I looked at my watch. 7:58 a.m. Harold would be in his office in 2 minutes. It means thank you for the conversation, Madison. You've been very enlightening. Wait, are you? Are you going to cause problems? I'm going to my attorney's office. Have a good day. I ended the call before she could respond. The phone immediately buzzed with a text. Madison, please don't do anything crazy. Tyler's worked so hard for this. I deleted it and grabbed my car keys. Harold's office was waiting. Harold Chin's office sat on the 3rd floor of a building that had been modern in 1987. Wood paneling, brass. Fixtures, windows that overlooked the courthouse across the street. It smelled like old paper and leather, the scent of careful decisions made over decades. Harold himself was 72, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, wearing a suit that cost more than most people's. Monthly rent. We'd known each other for 30 years, since I'd needed someone to review my first major construction contract. He'd reviewed my life instead, advised me through business expansions, helped me plan my estate, held my hand through Susan's death. He knew everything about me worth knowing. Richard, he stood when his secretary showed me in, gripping my hand firmly. Coffee, please. We settled into the leather chairs near his window. He poured from a carafe that probably cost more than my first truck. So, he said, handing me a cup. Tyler's trust fund. Tell me what's going on. I told him. Everything. The party invitation, that wasn't. Madison's call. The Instagram performance. The self-made entrepreneur narrative built on my money. Harold listened without interrupting, his lawyer face giving nothing away. When I finished, he set down his cup and steepled his fingers. Richard, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to really think before you answer. All right, is this about the party, or is this about Tyler? The question settled between us like dust. It's about who Tyler's become, I said finally. Who I've let him become. Harold nodded slowly. You think you've enabled him. I know I have. I've given him everything, and he's learned nothing. He doesn't know what anything costs, because he's never had to pay for anything. He doesn't value what he has because he never earned it. He's 21, Richard. His brain isn't even fully developed yet. This could just be a phase. It's not a phase when he's starting a business teaching other people to do the same thing. It's not a phase when he's erasing me from his narrative because I don't fit his brand. I lean forward. This is who he is, Harold. This is who I've created. So what do you want to do about it? I want to know my options. With the trust fund, Harold pulled a file from his desk drawer. He'd prepared, of course. That was Harold. You established the trust when Tyler was born. Standard irrevocable living trust, with you as trustee and Tyler as beneficiary. The terms state that Tyler receives access to interest and dividends at age 21 and full control of the principal at age 25. Can I change that? The irrevocable part means the structure itself can't be changed. Harold opened the file. However, as trustee, you maintain significant discretion over distributions. You can delay access to the principal if you have cause. What constitutes cause? Evidence of financial irresponsibility, misrepresentation of assets, behavior that suggests the beneficiary would waste or misuse the funds. Harold looked at me over his reading glasses. Based on what you've told me, Tyler's social media presence could qualify. I thought about Madison's call, about Tyler's 3 clients, paying him to learn how to fake success. What if I don't want to delay access? What if I want to dissolve it entirely? Harold set down the file. That's drastic. Can it be done? Technically, yes. As trustee, you can restructure the trust assets, move them into a different vehicle, redirect them to a different beneficiary, or dissolve the trust and redirect the assets to charity. But Richard, you need to understand what you'd be doing. That's Tyler's future, his security. Is it, or is it his crutch? I met Harold's eyes. What kind of future does he have if he never learns to stand on his own? What kind of security is built on lies? You're talking about $2.3 million. That's not teaching him a lesson. That's potentially ruining his life. I'm talking about saving him from himself. Harold was quiet for a long moment. I've known you a long time, Richard. I watched you build your business. From nothing. I saw how you treated your employees, how you took care of Susan, how you stepped up when Tyler's mother died. You're one of the best men I know. Thank you. So I'm going to trust that you've thought this through, that you're not acting out of anger or hurt feelings. This is about Tyler's well-being, not punishment. It's not punishment, I said. It's the most loving thing I can do for him. Harold pulled out a legal pad and began writing. If you dissolve the trust, where do you want the assets to go? I'd thought about this during the drive over. A scholarship fund for first-generation college students. Kids who actually need help, who'll actually appreciate what they're given. That's fitting. Harold kept writing. I'll need documentation. Evidence of Tyler's misrepresentation. Screenshots of his social media. Anything that shows he's claiming self-made status while accessing trust funds. I can get that. And I need to tell you the timing. If you want this done before his birthday, we need to move fast. I can have the paperwork ready by tomorrow, but you need to sign off immediately. His birthday is Saturday. I know. I thought about Tyler's party. The Meridian. The photographers and videographers capturing his moment of triumph. The moment when he'd be celebrating with my money while erasing me from the story. Do it, I said. Have everything ready tomorrow. I'll sign whatever needs signing. Harold studied me. You're sure? I'm sure. One more thing. He tapped his pen against his notepad. What are you going to tell Tyler? Nothing, I said. Not until it's done. Not until there's nothing he can do to stop it. He's going to be devastated. He's going to survive. That's the point. Harold nodded slowly. All right. I'll call you tomorrow when the documents are ready. But Richard. Yes. Susan will be proud of you. This takes courage. I stood and shook his hand. Susan would want me to do what's right, not what's easy. Walking out of Harold's office, I felt lighter than I had in years. Like I'd finally stopped carrying weight I was never meant to bear. My phone buzzed with a text from Tyler. Hey, Grandpa. Madison said she talked to you. Hope everything's cool. Party's going to be epic. Wish you could see it. Love you. I stared at those last two words. Love you. Did he? Or did he love what I provided? Tomorrow, we'd find out. The Meridian rose from 5th Street like a glass cathedral, all chrome and windows and architectural ambition. Valet parking, red carpet, a step-and-repeat banner with Tyler's name, and some kind of geometric logo that probably meant something to people who understood personal brands. I'd seen the invoice. $15,000 for the venue. Another $8,000 for catering. $3,000 for the photographer and videographer. Tyler's credit card, paid by my automatic payment, had covered it all. Not anymore. I'd signed the papers at Harold's office that morning. 9 a.m. Witnessed and notarized, legal and final. The trust fund no longer existed. $2.3 million had been transferred to the Morrison Family Scholarship Foundation, established as of today. Tyler didn't know yet. He'd find out soon enough. I pulled up to the valet stand in my truck, drawing looks from the attendants accustomed to Teslas and Mercedes. A kid who couldn't have been more than 19 took my keys like I'd handed him a dead fish. Enjoy your evening, sir, he said, in a tone that suggested I wouldn't. The lobby was already crowded with Tyler's curated guest list. Everyone under 30, everyone dressed like they were attending a tech conference or a yacht party. Everyone holding champagne flutes and expensive smiles. I wore my best suit, the navy one I'd bought for Susan's funeral. It still fit, still looked good. I might be outdated, but I cleaned up just fine. Richard, Madison materialized in front of me, her face cycling through shock, concern, and calculation in rapid succession. She wore a dress that probably cost a month of my grocery budget, her hair and makeup Instagram. Perfect. What are you doing here? It's my grandson's birthday. I smiled pleasantly. Where else would I be? We talked about this. Tyler said you understood. I understood perfectly. I decided to come anyway. Her jaw tightened. This is really inappropriate. Tyler specifically asked. Tyler suggested I might be more comfortable elsewhere. I've decided I'm comfortable here. I looked around. The space. It's a lovely venue. Well worth the $15,000. Madison's eyes widened slightly. She hadn't known I knew the exact number. I need to talk to Tyler, she said, already backing away. Just don't make a scene, okay? Please. She disappeared into the crowd before I could respond. I accepted a champagne flute from a passing server and began to circulate. The conversations around me were fascinating. Everyone was either a founder, a creator, an entrepreneur, or an influencer. No one had a regular job. No one was ordinary. Everyone was selling something, usually themselves. Closed a pre-seed round of $750K. My engagement rate is insane right now. Thinking about pivoting to Web3. I found a spot near the bar and observed. Within 10 minutes, I'd identified Tyler's 3 consulting clients. They were easy to spot, clustered together, talking loudly about personal brands and growth strategies. Tyler's been incredible, one of them said, a kid with styled hair and a designer hoodie. He helped me restructure my entire content strategy. Went from 2,000 followers to 15,000 in 3 months. His crypto advice is solid too, another added. He's got this instinct for it, you know? Knows exactly when to buy, when to sell. Yeah, man. When you come from money like that, you develop a different relationship with risk. He's got that. Trust fund confidence. Trust fund confidence. I almost laughed. Richard. Tyler stood behind me, Madison hovering at his shoulder. My grandson looked good. Expensive haircut, tailored clothes, the kind of casual perfection that took hours to achieve. Tyler. Happy birthday, son. What are you doing here? He kept his voice low, aware of the crowd around us. We talked about this. We talked. I listened. I decided to come anyway. I raised my champagne flute. 21 isn't important. Birthday. I wouldn't miss it. Grandpa, please. Genuine distress flickered across his face. You're making this really awkward. Am I? I'm just standing here with a drink, watching you celebrate with your friends. Madison leaned in, whispering something urgent in Tyler's ear. He shook his head, then nodded clearly. Conflicted. Look, he said finally, if you're going to stay, just keep a low profile, okay? Don't talk to people about you. No, family stuff. This is a professional event. Professional, of course. I smiled. I'll be the soul of discretion. They left me alone after that, though I caught Madison watching me nervously from across the room. Tyler worked the crowd like he'd been born to it, shaking hands, laughing at jokes, posing for photos that would doubtless appear on Instagram within minutes. I waited. At 8 p.m., the lights dimmed. A spotlight hit a small stage at the far end of the room. Tyler climbed up, microphone in hand, his smile gleaming under the lights. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Applause and cheers. I can't believe you all showed up for me. This is literally incredible. More applause. Tyler waited for it to die down, playing the moment like he'd rehearsed it. So, 21, right? That's a big one. Everyone says it's when you officially become an adult, when you start taking control of your own life. And for me, that really resonates. He paced the stage, comfortable and confident. I recognized the patterns. He'd watched TED Talks, studied how influencers commanded attention. The past few years have been about building my brand, building my network, building my future. Hey, a lot of people don't understand how hard that is. They think if you have followers or success online, it just happened. But it didn't just happen. I made it happen. The crowd murmured agreement. I've taken risks, made investments, put myself out there. And yeah, some people thought I was crazy. But I believed in myself. I trusted my instincts. And that's what I want to pass on to everyone here tonight. He gestured broadly, encompassing the room. Success isn't about where you start. It's about where you're going. It's about taking control, making smart decisions, and never letting anyone tell you that you can't make it on your own. On your own. The words echoed through the room. I'm launching Morrison Brand Consulting next month, and my goal is to help other people do what I did. Build from nothing. Create something authentic. Own your narrative. Build from nothing. Create something authentic. I set down my champagne flute and began walking toward the stage. Tyler didn't see me at first. He was too busy thanking Madison, thanking his friends, thanking the universe for his incredible journey. And I guess I should thank my grandfather for being here tonight, he added, scanning the crowd. Even though I told him not to come. Nervous laughter rippled through the audience. Grandpa Richard, Where are you? Come up here. I was already climbing the stairs. Tyler's smile flickered when he realized how close I was, but he couldn't back. Out now. Not with cameras rolling. He handed me the microphone. The room went quiet. I looked out at the crowd of young, ambitious, carefully curated people. At Madison's panicked face. At Tyler's frozen smile. Thank you, Tyler. That was quite a speech. I turned to address the room. My grandson is right about a lot of things. Success does take work. Building something real does require courage. I paused, letting the silence build. I've had the privilege of watching Tyler grow up. I was there when he was born. I held him when he took his first steps. I was there for every birthday, every graduation, every milestone. Tyler's smile was starting to crack. He reached for the microphone, but I stepped away smoothly. I've also had the privilege of supporting Tyler's journey. His education at Riverside Academy, one of the finest private schools in the state. His college education at the University of Washington. His living expenses, his cars, his opportunities. The room had gone very still. Phones were out, recording everything. Over the past 18 years, I've invested approximately $3.2 million in my grandson's future. That includes a trust fund established the day he was born, which has grown to $2.3 million through careful management and regular contributions. Madison's face had gone white. Tyler was shaking his head slightly, mouthing stop. I tell you this not to embarrass Tyler, but to provide context. Because I've learned something important today. Tyler's right. Success isn't about where you start. It's about honesty, authenticity, integrity. I turn to face my grandson directly. Tyler's been telling people he's self-made, that he built his success from nothing, that his trust fund. Confidence comes from his own brilliant investments and calculated risks. And I understand why. That's a better story than the truth. Someone in the crowd gasped. I could hear whispered conversations starting. But here's the thing about building on lies. Eventually, the foundation cracks. So I'm going to give Tyler something truly valuable for his 21st birthday. Something he's never had before. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. Harold had prepared it perfectly. Cream cardstock, legal office letterhead visible through the window. The truth. And consequences. I handed Tyler the envelope. His hands shook as he opened it. I watched his face as he read. Watched the confusion, then the comprehension, then the absolute horror as he understood what he was holding. As of 9 a.m. this morning, I said, my voice carrying clearly through the silent room, Tyler's trust fund no longer exists. The $2.3 million has been transferred to the Morrison Family Scholarship Foundation, which will provide full-ride scholarships to first-generation college students, kids who actually need help, kids who will actually appreciate what they're given. Tyler's face had gone from white to red. You can't, this isn't. It's legal, it's final, and it's done. I took the microphone back. The monthly allowance is canceled. The credit card is canceled. This apartment, this party, this lifestyle, all of it stops today. Madison surged forward. You're a vindictive old man. Tyler's worked so hard for everything he has. Has he? Then he should have no problem continuing without my help. I looked around the room. 4. Everyone here who invested in Tyler Morrison, the self-made entrepreneur, I have bad news. The trust fund he's been promising to leverage for your ventures? Gone. The cryptocurrency portfolio he's been advising you on? Built with my money, not his genius. The consulting business teaching you to build from nothing? Run by someone who's never built anything himself. One of Tyler's clients pushed forward from the crowd. Wait, are you serious? Tyler said he had $2 million liquid for investments. We signed contracts. Contracts based on fraudulent claims, I said. I suggest you consult an attorney. The room erupted. Tyler's clients were shouting. Madison was screaming. People were recording everything, posting in real time. I could see the Instagram stories going up, the tweets, the texts spreading the news. Tyler just stood there, envelope in hand, his entire carefully constructed world collapsing around him. Grandpa, he said finally, his voice breaking. Why would you do this? Because I love you, I said simply. And because someone had to stop you before you destroyed yourself. Completely. I handed the microphone to a shocked sound technician and walked off the stage. Behind me, chaos erupted. Tyler's voice rising in panic. Madison's in fury, the crowd buzzing with schadenfreude and deleted business cards. I walked through the lobby, past the red carpet and the step and repeat banner with my grandson's logo, past the valet who still looked at my truck with disdain. I climbed in and started the engine. Through the glass walls of the Meridian, I could see Tyler surrounded by angry people, his phone pressed to his ear, probably calling lawyers or banks or anyone who might undo what I'd done. There was no undoing it. I pulled into traffic and drove home, leaving behind the wreckage of Tyler's 21st birthday party and the first real lesson of his life. 3 days passed in relative silence. My phone became a battlefield of notifications. 47 missed calls from Tyler. 33 from Madison. 12 from numbers I didn't recognize, probably Tyler's business associates looking for explanations or refunds. I didn't answer any of them. The voicemails told their own story. Tyler's messages progressed like the stages of grief, compressed into digital recordings. Saturday night, 11:47 p.m. What the fuck, Grandpa? You can't do this. Call me back right now. Sunday morning, 8:23 a.m. Okay, I get it. You were mad about the party thing. But this is insane. You've destroyed everything. Everything. Just, please call me. We can fix this. Sunday afternoon, 3:15 p.m. Madison left. She said she can't be with someone who lied about having money. My clients are threatening to sue me. My followers are dropping by thousands. My whole life is falling apart. Are you happy now? Monday morning, 6:44 a.m. I don't understand why you hate me. What did I do that was so terrible? Not inviting you to one party? That's worth destroying my entire future. Monday evening, 9:31 p.m. The landlord called. Said the rent check bounced. I have 30 days to pay or I'm evicted. I have $847 in my bank account. What am I supposed to do? Tuesday afternoon, 2:18 p.m. Dad won't return my calls either. I think you poisoned him against me. I have. Nobody. No money. No girlfriend. No business. No future. I hope you're proud of yourself. I listened to each one once, then deleted them. Madison's voicemails were different. Pure venom from start to finish. You're a bitter old man taking out your sad life on someone young and successful. Tyler was going to be someone important. You couldn't stand that he was surpassing you, so you tore him down. That's pathetic. You're pathetic. Delete. I hope you die alone and miserable. I hope you realize what you've done and it eats you alive. Tyler deserved better than a grandfather who sabotages him out of jealousy. Delete. We're going to sue you. My father knows lawyers. Important lawyers. You won't get away with this. Delete. By Wednesday morning, the voicemails had stopped. The calls had stopped. Even the texts had dwindled to nothing. I sat in my study, the same room where I'd counted the cost of my generosity 4 days ago, and felt something. Close to peace. Harold called at 10 a.m. You made TMZ, he said without preamble. What? Tyler's birthday party. Someone posted the video. It's gone viral. Rich grandpa destroys trust fund baby ad. 21st birthday party. You've got 4.2 million views. I close my eyes. That's unfortunate. Is it? The comments are overwhelmingly on your side. Everyone's calling Tyler a spoiled brat and praising you for teaching him a lesson. Harold paused. Though some people are calling you cruel. Maybe I am. Or maybe you're the only one who loved him enough to do what needed doing. Harold's voice softened. The Scholarship Foundation is already getting applications. 127 in 3 days. First generation. Students, exactly like you specified. Something loosened in my chest. That's good. That's really good. There's a girl named Maria Santos. 19, daughter of immigrant farm workers. 4.0 GPA, accepted to MIT. For engineering. No way to pay for it. She wrote in her application that she heard about the foundation on social media, and it felt like a miracle. I thought about Tyler's party, about Madison's designer dress, about $26,000 spent on one night of performance. Maria Santos could go to MIT instead. Fund her, I said. Full ride. Books, housing, everything. Already done. I took the liberty. Harold was quiet for a moment. You did the right thing, Richard. Tell that to my grandson. Give him time. He'll come around. Maybe. I wasn't sure I believed it. Or maybe he won't. Maybe this is who he is. Then you saved $2.3 million from being wasted on someone who didn't deserve it. After Harold hung up, I made myself lunch. Soup and a sandwich, eaten at my kitchen table with a newspaper. And nobody's expectations weighing on my shoulders. The money was gone. The trust fund was gone. 18 years of investment had been redirected to people who would actually use it to build real futures. I should have felt devastated. Instead, I felt free. At 4:37 p.m., someone knocked on my door. Not pounded. Knocked. Hesitant, uncertain. I looked through the peephole and saw Tyler standing on my porch. He looked terrible. 3-day beard, wrinkled clothes, unwashed hair. The polish was gone, the performance over. He looked like what he was, a 21-year-old kid who just lost everything. I opened the door. Can we talk? His voice was hoarse. Come in. He shuffled into my living room like a stranger, looking around at the modest furniture, the outdated decorations, the life I'd lived while funding his fantasy. I didn't know where else to go, he said finally. I gestured to the couch. He sat. I settled into my armchair, the same one I'd sat in 5 days ago when this all started, and waited. Tyler stared at his hands. Madison's gone. My clients want their money back. My Instagram comments are brutal. Everyone's calling me a fraud, a liar, a trust fund baby who pretended to be self-made. Are they wrong? He flinched. I didn't technically lie. I just didn't mention certain things. You built an entire brand on a false narrative. You took money from people based on expertise you didn't have and credentials you didn't earn. That's not omission, Tyler. That's fraud. I know. His voice cracked. I know that now. Do you? Or do you just know that you got caught? Tyler's head snapped up. That's not fair, isn't it? For days ago, you were on a stage telling a room full of people that you built everything yourself, that you took risks and made it on your own. You truly believed that, didn't you? Yes, I did, because I was the one posting, networking, building the following. That was me, built on my money, funded by my support, enabled by my refusal to let you face consequences. I leaned forward. Tyler, I failed you, not by taking away the trust fund. I failed you by giving you everything in the first place. What? I loved you so much that I destroyed you. I gave you everything you wanted and nothing you needed. I taught you that money appears without effort, that lifestyle comes without work, that image matters more than substance. Tyler was crying now, silently, tears running down his unshaven face. I didn't know, he whispered. I didn't know what anything really cost. I thought it was just there, like it was just part of life. I know. That's my fault. So what now? He looked at me with desperate eyes. I have $847 in my bank account. My rent's due in 3 weeks. I can't pay it. I'll be homeless. Then you'll figure it out. His face crumpled. How? I don't know how to do anything. I've never had a real job. I don't have any actual skills. Then you'll learn. The same way everyone else does. By trying, failing, and trying again. I can't do this alone. I looked at my grandson, at the wreckage of the person I'd helped create, and made a decision. You're right. You can't. Not because you're incapable, but because nobody does anything completely alone. I stood up and walked to my desk. I'm going to give you one more gift, Tyler. Not money. A choice. What kind of choice? I pulled out a piece of paper and a pen. Started writing. Option 1. You walk out that door right now. I never contact you again. You never contact me. You figure out your life completely on your own. No safety net, no backup plan, no grandfather to fall back on. Tyler's breathing quickened. Option 2. You move back to Riverside. You get a real job. I have contacts in construction, retail, service, industry, minimum wage, entry level, the kind of work you've never had to do. You work full-time and you live within your means. No allowance, no bailouts, no credit cards. For how long? 2 years minimum. During that time, you also do two things. First, you publicly apologize. Real apology, not performance. You admit you lied about being self-made. You admit you misled people. You take full responsibility. Tyler's face went pale. That'll destroy what's left of my reputation. You don't have a reputation. You have a shattered illusion. The apology is the first step to building something real. I kept writing. Second thing, we have dinner once a week. Here in my house. You tell me about your week. I tell you about mine. We really talk like family should. That's it. That's it. For 2 years, you work, you live modestly, and you learn what real life costs. At the end of 2 years, if you've stuck with it, if you've proven you can build something real, then we'll talk about helping you start a legitimate business with a proper business plan, realistic projections, and your own money invested. Alongside mine, Tyler was quiet for a long time. And if I choose option 1, then I respect your decision and I hope you make it work. You'd really just cut me off forever? I already did, Tyler. This is me offering you a path back, but only if you're willing to earn it. He stood up, paced to the window, stared out at Susan's rose garden. I don't know if I can do it, he said finally. The work, the apology, the humiliation. Then you can't. And that's okay. But you need to decide. Tyler turned around. His face was a mess of tears and snot and desperation. Why? Why would you give me another chance after everything? Because your grandmother made me promise to take care of you. And I kept that promise wrong for 18 years. Giving you money wasn't taking care of you. Enabling your worst instincts wasn't taking care of you. I met his eyes. Teaching you how to stand on your own. That's taking care of you. And if I fail, then you fail. Failure is part of learning. The question is whether you're willing to try. Tyler wiped his face with his sleeve. Stood there in my living room, at the crossroads of his entire future. Can I think about it? You have 24 hours. After that, the offer expires. He nodded slowly. Okay. I'll walk him to the door. Tyler. Yeah. I do love you. That's why this is hard. If I didn't love you, I would have just kept writing checks and pretending. Everything was fine. His face crumpled again. I love you too, Grandpa. I know I don't act like it, but I do. Then prove it. Not with words. With choices. He left. I watched him drive away in the Audi I'd bought him, using the last tank of gas I'd probably ever pay for. 24 hours. Either way, I'd done what I could. The knock on my door came at exactly 6 p.m. on a Friday. Punctual, which was new. I opened it to find Tyler standing there in work clothes. Jeans streaked with paint, boots scuffed from Honest. Use a t-shirt from Morrison Construction, my old company, the one I'd sold 5 years ago, but that's still used. The name. Hey, Grandpa. Tyler. Come in. He'd been coming to dinner every Friday for 23 weeks. At first, the conversations had been stilted, awkward. Now they were just real. How was your week? I asked, pulling a casserole from the oven. Susan's recipe, the one Tyler used to beg for. As a kid. Brutal. We're renovating this old warehouse downtown, converting it to lofts. I've been doing drywall for 6 days straight. My shoulders are destroyed. He flexed his arms, showing muscles that hadn't existed 6 months ago. But we finished the 3rd floor today. It looks good. You sound surprised. I am. I built something that'll still be there in 50 years. That's weird to think about. I set the casserole on the table. That's construction. Everything you build outlasts you. We sat down to eat. Tyler loaded his plate like he'd been starving, which he probably had been. He was living in a studio apartment on the south side, the kind of place I'd lived in when I first started out. $650 a month, no. Amenities, but it was his. I got my first paycheck that wasn't from you, he said between bites. After taxes, $1,847. I paid rent, bought groceries, put gas in my car. How much did you have left? $112. He laughed. I used to spend that on brunch. And now it feels like a fortune because I earned it. He looked up at me. That's weird too. That's life. We ate in comfortable silence for a while. This was good. This was what family dinner should feel like. I did something else this week, Tyler said finally. Remember that apology video you made me post? Yes. It got picked up by some business ethics website. They're using it as a teaching example. What not to do, how. To take accountability. professor at Seattle U wants me to come speak to his entrepreneurship class about the consequences of misrepresentation. Are you going to do it? Yeah, I think so. Tyler pushed food around his plate. It's terrifying, but also, maybe if I tell my story some other kid won't make the same mistakes. Pride swelled in my chest. Real pride, not the false kind I'd felt watching him perform at parties.